Hi, I'm Andy. Welcome to One Man and His Meeple. Today I'm looking at the solo mode for the new Kickstarter game, Three Sisters. Three Sisters is a backyard gardening roll and write game by Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle and published by Motor City Gameworks. The game is named after the ancient agricultural technique used by the indigenous people of America and still widely used today. The sisters in question are three different crops: pumpkins, corn and beans. The three plants complement each other. The corn provides a natural lattice for the beans to climb. The beans bring in nitrogen from the air, which fertilizes the soil, and the pumpkin plants provide ground cover and natural mulch. In this game, the players draft dice to take a number of different actions, depending on the value of the dice and the location on the game board. You may find yourself planting or watering crops, tending your beehives, visiting the farmer's market, or working in your shed. There are a myriad of ways to earn victory points, which is ultimately your measure as a successful market gardener. In the solo, you play against the apparently well-intentioned but interfering Farmer Edith. Every turn she takes, she will usually cross off something on your garden sheet, wrecking a plot so you can't grow pumpkins or beans, or ruining your most profitable beehive, or even trashing something you were working on in your shed. This damage is inevitable, so you must work to direct Edith to the least important parts of your garden and shed, which makes the dice you don't choose as important as those that you do. Unfortunately, I'm using a print and play version today, as the preview copy is still in the clutches of the post office. Anyway, let's play Three Sisters. Okay, so Three Sisters is played out over 8 rounds, during which myself and Farmer Edith here will draft 2 dice each and then take a number of actions. We normally have a gardening action for each dice and a rondelle action. And then at the end of the round there will be a round action, and I'll go through what each of these do as we get to them. This is our garden area up here. We've got gardens numbered 1 through 6, and we've got the perennials area here. Apiary, which are beehives, our shed where we work on various items, our orchard where we're growing some fruit. Here is where we store our goods, and here is where we store our compost, the compost heap. Compost will be used to adjust our dice rolls. So the first thing that happens is Farmer Edith starts on this space here, and we take it in turns as first player. I'm first player on the odd rounds and she is first player on the even rounds. So I roll the dice and then we place them, we group them up into like numbers, so 4, 5 and 2 6s, and then we place them clockwise round from that first position in their group. So there is 4 dice on the apiary or fruit area. There is a 5 on the plant or water, and there are 2 6s on the shed time. As first player, I can pick any of these dice. I know that Edith will always try and pick the dice on this space, and if that one is not available, she will take the next one clockwise. Now Edith should move round to the next space after the dice. No matter what I pick for my first dice, for my second dice, I must take the first one that is clockwise from Edith. So you only have a really free choice on your first dice selection. After that, you have to take the next one clockwise round from Edith. Okay, so let's just run through what happens if I pick various ones of these dice. If I take the 4, it means I get to plant or water area 4. Eat and then take an apiary or fruit action, which is to cross off something in the beehive or in the orchard. Edith will then take the 5 and trash a plant in the 5 area, and then because it's on the plant or water action, she will trash another plant in the 5 area. And then I get to take a 6 and have shed time, and then she will take a 6 and have shed time. If I take the 5, she will take the 4, trash something in the 4, garden area 4, and trash something in the beehives. And if I take and then I will have to take a 6 and she will take a 6. If I take a 6, she will do a 4, and then I will have to take a 5 and she will do a 6. I think for my first choice, I'm going to take this 5 and I'm going to plant out. For my dice, I get to plant 2 areas in the number of the dice, and I can adjust it using compost. I only start with 1 compost, so I'm going to go and plant the pumpkins in area 5 because those are the first thing Edith always trashes. And I'm going to plant 1 row of corn. Corn are the tall stacks with 4 spaces. The smaller stacks beside them are beans, and they can only be planted alongside the corn once the corn has become established and grown to that second square. So the bottom of each of these is an initial planting, and after that they only go up when they've been watered, either through rain or through the water action. So that was my use of the 5, and then I get a plant or water action. So I'll probably do it again, just plant 2 more rows of corn in position 5. I could have watered them and grown that pumpkin to fruition and 1 space on that corn, but it's better, I think, just to get some planting done at first. Okay, so Edith now comes along, and she will always take the apiary action with the gold push pin if available. So she's going to take that 4, which means she breaks something in garden area 4, and she will, as a priority, go for the tallest pumpkin. So she trashes that. I can no longer grow that pumpkin. She will then, so we've got 2 apiary and fruit actions, and she will break something in the area with the blue push pin. So if she's in this one, she will break something in the apiary. If she's in this one, she will break something in the fruit orchard. It's dependent on the number. So that was a 4. So she will break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this case, it's the middle row there, and she trashes that top area. So that 4 is removed. Now I must take the next dice clockwise from Edith, which is this 6, and shed time. So, garden area 6, I'm again going to plant the 2 pumpkins as a priority. Because as you'll see, we only have a couple of pumpkin areas in each garden, in each plot, and normally plenty of corn. So I don't really mind if Edith comes in and trashes 1 or 2 areas, 1 or 2 corn plantings, but if she trashes the pumpkins, then they're gone. Also, when your pumpkins fruit get to the top here, you get a number of goods, and also you get the perennial in the middle, which is a bonus, and this is how you get combos going. It will all become clear as we play on. So I planted 2 areas in plot 6, and I get to take a shed action as well, which, just like planting, I just get to fill in 1 of these. Now I'm going to go for, this hasn't been cleaned off terribly well, I'm going to go for seed spreader. And when I've taken that 4 times, then when planting I can plant an extra seed, an extra plot. And then Sandra is also going to come along and do area number 6, and she's going to trash a corn of my choice. Now you can see if I hadn't got those pumpkins, she'd have smashed up the pumpkin plot, and I'd have been unable to ever get this perennial bonus between them. So Edith's taken dice number 6, and we get to do a shed action, which is just like the shed action from shed time. And I'm going to take that seed spreader again. Plant out that seed spreader. Okay, so now Edith is first player. So I'm going to roll the dice for her. And we place these round 2, 3, 4 and 6, and Edith marches round to that space. And as I said, she will always take this action if available, which it is, and she will. So she's going to trash something in area number 6, another corn. And she's going to trash area number 6 in the apiary, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you want to go, if you want your beehive, if you want to go for a beehive strategy, you have to be quite quick off the mark here, because Edith takes that as a priority. You have to be quite quick working on that or taking that yourself. But obviously, in this instance, she was first player. There was nothing I could do about it. So, what have I got left? A 2 with the apiary or fruit action, a 3 in shed time, and a 4 in the farmer's market. Now, the farmer's market is really only good if you've got at least 4 goods, because then you get to take a perennial action and you get a compost. And we have no goods at the moment. The question then would be, can we get 4 goods with this 4 action? Which isn't looking likely. We could plant out this pumpkin, which would get us 1 good, because that's just has a single dot there. But there's no way we can get any other goods. So the farmer's market action itself would be a bit wasted. I'm just going to cross off that shed because we did that action. So the other options are 3 in the shed time, which would be good because it will allow us to get another go on our seed spreader, like nearly get that completed, and area 2 in the apiary or fruit. I think I want to get my shed, I want to get my seed spreader finished as soon as possible, because it's more useful earlier in the early game. So I'm going to take the 3, and I'm going to again plant out the pumpkins in plot number 3, so Edith can't ruin them. And then I'm going for a shed action. I've got my 3/4 finished seed spreader, which is good. So that 3 is removed. So Edith then will take the 2 as her second option, and that's apiary and fruit. So she's going to trash the pumpkins in area 2, which is unfortunate, and she's going to trash a fruit, an area in the fruit, and she ruins the right hand most position or on whichever fruit she's going to break, and it's for a 1 and a 2, which this is a 2. She's going to do apples. So there's no way we can achieve those 3 victory points. The rosettes are victory points at the end of the game. So that was her 2. We are left with a 4 on the farmer's market, which wasn't terribly well planned. So let's go there. So we get 1 good because we grew those pumpkins, and I'm going to plant out the other pumpkins in area 4. So we're going to the farmer's market with just 1 good, which just gets us 1 compost, which isn't amazing, unfortunately. And then the end of round action is rain. And rain means we water every single plot from 1 through 6. And when we water, we just, everything that we've planted, we increase. So those pumpkins and those pumpkins. Now these pumpkins are finished, so we get another good. And those ones. All these corn grow. So now we're able to plant beans alongside this corn if we wanted to. And those pumpkins are finished. So that's another good. And also because we've finished two neighbouring two adjacent pumpkins, we get to tick off the perennial in between, and this is hydrangea. So we mark that, and then we find the hydrangea down here, and we mark that. So that is a free action in raspberries. So we get a free raspberry there, which gets us 3 goods. 1, 2, 3. And because we've covered this star on the goods tracker, we get a free action. And we can spend that in the perennials, in the apiary, in the fruit, or in the shed. We can't spend it in the garden. But what we really want to do is finish this seed spreader anyway. So we're going to spend that action in the shed, finish that seed spreader, which will be worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. But more importantly, really, every time we plant, we can plant 1 extra seed, which is pretty good to get going early on in the game. So that was the rain. We didn't finish. These pumpkins grow a bit more, and that was it. Area 6. Okay. So we saw a bit of combo there. We did 2 neighbouring pumpkins and got the perennial between them. The perennial gave us some raspberries, the raspberries gave us some goods, and the goods gave us a star. And that star allowed us to finish the seed spreader, so that was cool. Okay, so we are the first player this time. So we roll. 2 1s, a 2 and a 4. If we put them onto the rondelle. Move Edith round to there. So, what's a good first pick here? Well, we haven't planted anything out in area 1 yet, and there are a couple of 1s, so she's going to grab 1. Whatever happens, so maybe we should take the 1 and plant those pumpkins before she trashes them. You can see from that last go how it's important to get the pumpkins because you get those combos early on. Or in the mid game. We can take the 2 and get a compost and 4 goods. Now we've got the threshold for the next level in the farmer's market now, which is 4 goods, and that gets us a free perennial and 2 compost. And additionally, it is the farmer's market at the end of this round. The next threshold for farmer's market is 20 goods, and I don't think we're going to get anywhere near there this turn. So I'm not too fussed about going for goods with this compost and 4 goods. Although it will, I believe, net us another star. So it could be worth it. But I think we should grab the 1 first. So we can get those pumpkins planted in area 1 before Edith comes along and trashes them. And we've got shed time. Now another one I like to take here is mulch. That allows us to take 2 perennials instead of the board action. So especially towards the end of the game, if the board action, the rondelle action here isn't really appropriate, we can just mulch and take 2 perennials instead. As you can see, the perennials have some pretty good victory points, 12 and 10, as well as having nice bonuses on the way up there. They have some pretty good victory point bonuses at the top as well. The other good one, of course, is the new tractor, which is worth 15 victory points on its own. And if you're looking good on pumpkins, the carving kit here is okay because you get 1 victory point per harvested pumpkin in the longest chain. So that means the longest uninterrupted chain. So at the moment we could possibly get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 victory points for the carving kit. But I want to go for the mulch. So we planted out those pumpkins up there in area 1, and I'm going to take that shed action there. Now Edith comes along and she's going to take this, and she's also, when I say this, you can't see it, she's also going to take this 1. So she is going to trash a corn in area number 1, plot number 1. And if we hadn't protected those pumpkins, she would have trashed those. And then she's got shed time as well. And what does she do in shed time? She breaks, if it's the first shed time on the plot, with the picture of the shears on here, she trashes one of the top section in the shed, and if it's the shed time with a mower, she trashes something from the bottom section. So let's have a look at those. It's a 1 and it's in the top section, so she's going to break the mason jars. So she's coming stomping into the shed and she's just going to smash all my mason jars, so I will never get extra goods per blackberry harvest now. Nothing I can do about them. And the worst thing about Edith in the shed is if I've got partially completed string trimmer, say 2 dots in there, and she comes in and she rolls 1, 2, 3, 4, or she picks the 4 dice, she will trash my string trimmer even though I've got work in. She will never come in and trash stuff in the garden plots once I've planted it though. So that was her number 1 in the shed time, so that was her dice there. Now we're left with a 2 on the compost and 4 goods. We're going to take the 2 and we're going to use a compost to adjust it to a 3, and we're going to plant out in garden plot number 3. So I'm going to use 1 compost to adjust that to a 3. And remembering we've got the seed spreader from the shed, we can plant 3 items out in area number 3. 1, 2, 3. Both our pumpkins are already planted. And we've got 1 compost from the rondelle action and 4 goods. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's covered a star, so we get another bonus action. And I'm going to finish the mulch in the shed. So now, if we don't really like the rondelle action we're stuck with, especially on our second dice, we can just use mulch and take 2 perennials instead. Okay, so what's Edith going to do? Sure, she's left with a 4 in the orchard, because this second blue pushpin, she'll go and try and work in the orchard. So for the 4, she's going to trash some corn. And then she's going into the orchard, and for a 4 she will ruin these blackberries on the right there, so I can't get that level, that set of blackberries. And then we're off to the farmer's market. Farmer's market, the end of round action, and we've got 10 goods, so that puts us between the 4 and the 20. So we get 1 perennial and 1 compost. So let's mark off the compost first, and then perennials. So we can have any one we want, bottom row. This one gives us a shed action, which is pretty cool. This one gives us 2 more compost. This one gives us 2 goods and sets us off towards this high value final one. This one gives us a compost, but these plant water ±1 zones. It means when you're using a dice to plant, you can just adjust it ± ±1 without even using compost. So it's like free compost that's always there, or an ongoing compost action, I guess. We could go for this blank one on the hydrangea, but I don't fancy following a fruit-based strategy now. I think I'm going to try and concentrate on maybe these 2 perennials, high value shed action. I'm not going to go for a varied fruit action anyway. And the tulips also give us a free fruit of any type. But I think I'm going to start working up on the iris plantation there, which that gives us 1 compost, purely because these plant water bonuses are good and the irises are worth 12 victory points if we can finish them. So that was the farmer's market. Cross that off, and now it is Edith's go. So let's roll those dice. It's a 1 goes there, a 2 that goes there, and 2 5s there. Edith moves up there, and it's her go first, so she will always take this one if it's available. So she's going to trash something in area 2, just that corn, and then she's going to trash the wax in the apiary, the top of the wax tree there, because it was 2, so it's 1 2. So we can have a 1 and another go in the farmer's market. Or we could take a 5. Now our 5 plantation is looking quite well established. If we decided to plant with our extra seed, we can't even plant 3 things in area 5. Not that we can in area 1 either. So we might have to use some compost perhaps. I think I'm going to use the 5 here and finish planting out garden area 5. That does mean Edith's going to use 1 and the farmer's market. Just explain what Edith does when she goes to the farmer's market. She will trash a perennial based on the dice roll. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she would, if she gets the 1, she'll break something in garden area 1 and something, and the top tulip, which we weren't that worried about. So I'm quite happy to let her have the 1. It's just, do we want the farmer's market instead? No, I'm going to take the 5 and continue planting out area number 5, and then for the plant or water action, I'm going to water area 5. You're not seeing that. So all of those are increased by 1. And then Edith's going to come take this 1, trash something in garden area 1, and go to the farmer's market and trash top of our perennials on number 1. So we're left with 5 again. I don't really want to water 5 again. I'm going to use 1 compost, that one, and adjust that to a 4. And then I'm going to finish planting our area in number 4. As I thought, we got 3 seeds. We could have planted some beans in area number 5 before it rained, so I'm just going to sneak that in now. We can't plant a 3rd thing in area number 4 yet. So we can either make it rain in area 4, which I think I'm going to do actually with the water action. We're going to water area 4 as well, which finishes that pumpkin, which gets us 3 goods and a crocus. And the crocus is +2 compost. So at the end of that round, it's going to rain. Zoom in there, it's going to rain. So let's make it rain. we finished another pumpkin there, so that's 2 more goods, which means we've got a star. So I'm just going to draw a star in my journal there to remind myself. We also get a hyacinth because we've harvested 2 pumpkins, and that's 2 more goods. Hyacinth, 2 goods. So that's all the rain in plot number 3. Plot number 4, more rain. Plot number 5. Plenty of victory points in plot number 5 now. We'll add those up at the end. And number 6, so that's 2 more goods from that pumpkin harvested. But we haven't got any completed chains, so we don't get any perennials. Okay, so it's an odd round, so we are first player. Oh, we've still got this star. Now, as I said, we can use a star in the shed, or for perennials, or for fruit, or in the apiary. I think maybe it's time to start work building a tractor. So I'm going to use that star to tick there. First part of our new tractor, which is worth 15 victory points. Okay, right. I'm going to roll. 2 3s, 4, and a 5, and we are first player. So Edith will be taking 3. Which isn't so terrible because we've planted most of the decent stuff in 3. I wonder if we should take a 3 and use a compost to get 2 planted. It's not too late. We can get that finished before the end of the game. We can get 2 blooming before the end of the game, I reckon. And that 4 goods will give us another bonus star there towards our tractor. So let's take a 3 and use a compost to adjust it to a 2. So we get a compost and 4 goods. 1 2 3 4. So we've got a star which I'm going to spend towards my new tractor. And then we're going to start planting in area 3, and we've got extra seeds because of our seed spreader. Area 2 rather. We've got 3 seeds because of the seed spreader. There we go. Okay, so back over here, what's Edith going to do? She is, that should have gone there. She would take that, otherwise she takes the next clockwise one, so she's going into 3 and also getting a compost and goods action. So for the 3, she's going to trash that big corn there. And then for compost or goods action, this is the first time this has come up. She just crosses off the next star on the goods track, which I'm going to have to skip over so I don't get that bonus anymore. On the plus side, 5, 10, 15, 20, we are now over the 20 goods threshold for the next section in the farmer's market, which is going to get us perennials and fruit. So that was the 3. Okay, so we have to take the next clockwise dice, so we're going to take this 4. And instead of the apiary or fruit action, I'm going to use the mulch from our shed to take 2 perennials. And I'm going to take this one, which gives us a shed. So I'm going to take that new tractor action, tick towards the new tractor. And I'm going to plant here in the perennials, which gives us a plus or minus, a permanent plus or minus 1 adjustment to where we plant or water. So we're using a 4. I'm going to use our plus minus 1 from there and 1 compost, and I'm going to plant out in area 6, which is perhaps a tad optimistic, but we shall see. So that was our 4, and then Edith is going to take the 5. There is in area 5, she can only start trashing these little beans now because we've planted everything else. And then she's going to take a 5 in the shed time. Now it's the shed time with the lawnmower. What do I mean by that? It's here. So she's going to break area number 5 in the second half of the shed. So that's this second group here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's going to smash up the wheelbarrow. And then the round action for round number 5 is the farmer's market. Now we have got 23 goods, so we are now into this threshold, so we get 1 perennial and 1 fruit. So for our fruit, I think I'm going to take more goods from the raspberries. Raspberries give us lots of goods. So we'll just skip over that X. And 1 perennial. I'm going to go up to here, trying to get these 12 points. Okay, so on to round number 6. It's now Edith is first player. So let's roll the dice for her. 1, 2, 5. 6. She moves to there. She will take this number 1. Just going to trash that final corn in area number 1 and break the next area in column 1 on the apiary. I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to rain water plot number 2. And then I'm going to water it again because it was plant or water action. Actually, no, I'm going to plant 3 beans there. Remember, we got the extra beans because of the extra seeds, because of the seed spreader. Okay, so now Edith takes the 5 and trashes something in area 5, which is some beans. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Area 5 in the shed, which is the rain barrel. Clumsily stumbling around the shed, smashing up the rain barrel. Which leaves us with the 6 and 1 compost and 4 goods. So let's mark off the compost and the 4 goods. That gives us a star, which I'm going to put towards our new tractor. And then in plot number 6, I'm just going to... Well, we can't plant anymore in 6, so I'm just going to water 6, which finishes those pumpkins, which gets us 3 more goods. And it gets us the hyacinth, which is 2 more goods, which is another star. And it gets us the tulip, which is 1 free fruit action. And I'm going to take more raspberries, which is 3 more goods, and that single victory point at the end of the game. And we've got the star, which I'm going to put towards, obviously, our new tractor. Now, at the end of this round, it is shed time. So we can finish our new tractor, so that's worth 15 points at the end of the game. Okay, so now round number 7, we are first player. 2, 3, 4, that was a 6. If I don't take this 4, Edith's going to. But do I really care? It means she'll be breaking up the hive that the beehive that we've completely neglected. And the only thing she can do in 4 is ruin some beans. We are 10, 20, 30. I'm just counting how many goods we've got. We've got 10, 20, 30, 40 goods now. Well, it's not 40, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 24, 29, 34, 38 goods, which means we qualify for the next level on the farmer's market, which is 2 perennials and 1 compost. So the farmer's market with 3 is quite good. So let's take that. We'll make it rain in, we'll water, sorry, area number 3. Actually, I was wondering if we want to plant 3 beans out. No, I think we're just going to water area number 3 because we're getting near the end now. And then we get a farmer's market, which gets us 2 perennials. And obviously I'm going to go for this one. And 1 compost. So Edith takes this 4. She trashes 1, 2, 3, 4. That one in the hive and some beans in area number 4. We must take the, actually she should have moved to there, but we still must take the 2 and have a shed time. Now I'm going to use our plus minus 1 here, and I'm going to plant out these beans in area number 3. And for the shed time, I'm going to try and get this shovel before we finish. The shovel is, at any point you can spend 3 compost for a star, which is a free action. So it's quite good, especially towards the end of the game if you've got a bunch of compost that you haven't used. So anyway, that was us using that 2 on the shed time. And then Edith comes in and she's got the 6, so she's going to trash some beans in 6. Actually, when she trashed those in 4, I should have made her do those ones instead. A bit daft. So she did those in 6, and then, oh, because it's in the plant and water, she does a second set, so that's those. And then we have the farmer's market. And we've still only got 38 goods, so we're still in this bracket. So we get 2 perennials and 1 compost. For the 2 perennials, it would be good to finish this one. But what I'm going to do is take 2 in daffodils here. 1, 2, because that second one gets us a free shed action, which allows us to finish constructing our shovel, which means we can spend any excess compost on bonus actions. Okay, into the last round then. Edith is first player. So we have a 1, 4, 2 5s. She moves to there. She would take this one, but that's not there, so she takes the next one round in a clockwise direction, which is a 1, and she's going to cross off our next goods star, which is a shame because we were only 1 away from it. And then she's going to just ruin some beans up there in area number 1. Now, a couple of shed times going there, but I don't really, at this point there's not much left in the shed that I want to build. So I'm probably going to use my mulch action to just take perennials at this point, see if we can max out some victory points there. So it doesn't really matter what one we take. If Edith takes this 4, she's just going to trash some more blackberries, which we're not collecting. If she takes a 5, if we take the 4 and she takes a 5, then she is going to break the pumpkin carving kit in the shed. So there's no point in me even starting that. It's the only tempting one left in the shed. So there's no point in me taking that. What are we going to do then? Let's take the 5 and plant out some corn in area number 5. Not corn, beans in area number 5. No. What I want to do is water area number 2 or area number 6. Area number 2 is potentially worth more at this point. If we don't water area number 2, we're not going to finish these corn by the end of the game. So I've got 2 plus minus 1s here. So the 5, 6, 1 and 1 compost gives us the 2. So we'll strike off that compost. And we're going to water area number 2. And of course these beans are finished too. Now we used the 5, so we've potentially got a shed time, but I'm going to substitute it. I'm going to use the mulch to go for 2 perennial actions instead. And I mean, with that, we could actually convert that into 2 shed actions. And potentially, I mean, we could get this casserole dish, which gives us an extra victory point per 2 beans. And we're not done too badly on beans. By the end of the go, we're going to have, by the end of the game, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beans, so that'll be an extra 3 victory points. I think actually we need to spend these free actions. I need to finish off, definitely want to finish off the irises for 12 victory points. And I think, shall we see if we can get the hyacinths for 10 as well? Only 3 more to go on there. So back to Edith. She will take this one, which means she's going to ruin something in plot number 4. So those beans, and then the last blackberries for the 4, which means we are left with 5 and another shed time. Now we can plant these beans in 5, we could plant the beans in 6. Let's just go for 5. We'll plant those beans in area number 5, and then instead of the shed time, we're going to mulch and take 2 perennial actions. So that and that gets us 2 goods. I don't think we're going to finish that hyacinth. Oh, we might do because of the shovel. In fact, let's do that now, because that was the last action of the game. So using our shovel, we can spend 3 compost for 1 star. So 1, 2, 3. We can get our last perennial. We can get our hyacinth for 10 more victory points at the end of the game. And the last thing that happens in the game is it rains, which is watering every section. So we don't finish those pumpkins, but we do finish those for 2 more goods. Not a lot of good that's going to get us at the moment, unless we can stretch that last star. So finish growing all that corn in area number 2, which is good. We finish all these crops in area number 3. Pumpkins are already done. Finish these ones in area 4. Area 5 is already largely finished, harvested. A few more corn coming out there, and area 6 is a bit of a bust. Didn't quite manage to finish growing area 6. Okay, so all that remains to do now is add up the scores. So the final score table is here, so we score out victory points for the garden, and then the perennials, and then our fruit, and then the shed. So let's see what we've got. In the gardens, we've got nothing in area 1. In area 2, we've got 4, 8, 12. In area 3, we've got 4, 8, 12. In area 4, we've got 3, 6. In area 5, we've got 4, 8, 12, 15, 18. You don't get anything for pumpkins at this point in the game. In area 6, we've got 0. So added up, that is 30, 42, 48. Not bad. In the perennials, we've got the 12 and the 10, giving us 22. It's a bit, writing's a bit fat and blurry there, but never mind. And in the apiary, we've got absolutely nothing. We completely ignored the bees. In the fruit, we've got a measly 1 point for raspberries. And in the shed, we've got 1 for the shovel, 2 for the seed spreader, makes 3, and 15 for the tractor is 18. And when you add all that together, we got 30, 40, 88. So if we just consult the final score table for the solo games. So for 88, you have become an internet famous blogger. If only. So that's not a bad final score. I've had better, but I've definitely had worse. So hopefully I've given you some sort of idea of the flow of the game there. We didn't really go into a rules explanation because that's not what I set out to do. Just to give you an idea of how the solo game plays. So that was the Three Sisters solo mode. As you can see, despite her best intentions, Farmer Edith is an aggressive and destructive influence on your garden. Care needs to be taken at every step to steer her into spaces you can afford to lose or weren't planning to use. As it seems to me you need to choose and focus on a strategy, as in a particular area of the garden, then you should have areas you won't need. There's plenty of planty puzzles and cultivating cascading combos in the Three Sisters, with a broad swathe of strategies based around concentrating on different areas of your garden. You need to pick what to do early, and make sure Farmer Edith doesn't try and help out there is a vital part of this game. This other party running interference and the clever rondelle system is what sets this game apart from many other roll and writes, where you're merely working to achieve a high score based on the dice you roll. I hope this whets your appetite a little for what's coming in the Kickstarter. Please bear in mind my copy is just a print and play, and obviously the final edition is going to look a whole lot nicer than this, and there may be some rules changes before you get to play it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.